volunteers and visitors. For those of you who do not know, my name, for those of you who do not know, my name is Elizabeth Olmsted Rose, also known as Betty and Liz, and then any names my sisters would call me. Sometimes they weren't too complimentary. So I grew up in Aylmer and now live in Tucson, Arizona. And I'm here with my daughter, Carolyn Rose Adams, who helped get me through all the airports. And there were quite a few of them. Finally, she got me here safely. Thank you, Carolyn. My father, our father, was Alec Olmsted, who was a farmer and a market gardener here. And he and my mother, Leila McDowell Olmsted, lived on their Early Road property and farm for, I think, almost 60 years. I think it was that long. We're here today to pay respect to our ancestor and to learn more about our Olmsted Right connections. This is the man who's going to tell us. This is Rick Henderson, a journalist, an author. I'll introduce you a little later. and our ancestors, and we marvel at their bravery, their tenacity, and their perseverance in coming to this country. They really didn't know anything about it. It was sort of like a wilderness to them. So I think I want you to cast your thoughts to the journey that these early settlers took. And ask also why they came. For instance, well, when they came, it was probably, they walked here. Maybe they had some livestock with them, and also maybe some horses. And in the winter, they probably would have sleighs. Otherwise, I think they were just walking. And so I'm sure it was a really difficult journey. I think they wanted land to live more independently. Some had served in the American Revolution against the British. And I think they wanted more land, and it was the land in New England and Massachusetts at that time was becoming quite expensive, and so they were looking for cheaper land, and most of them were farmers, so that they came, I guess it was north and west, to find some land here. And we're fortunate to have Rick Henderson with us today, who's going to answer some of the questions you have. He said he'd take questions. I've had many conversations with Randy Green about the cemetery, and a year ago I learned that Bellevue had been given heritage status. That led to Randy suggesting that we consider repairing the Gideon Olmstead monument that had suffered some years, 200 years actually of neglect, and probably a lot from the elements, you know. So, and this monument was originally given to the cemetery by Sarah Olmsted Sparks in memory of her parents, Gideon Olmsted and Ester Andrews. In giving this land to the community, I wonder if Gideon could know how beautiful it would become. I think he does know. And now we come to this lovely place and visit our loved ones. Some of Gideon's descendants were contacted earlier this year and invited to contribute to a restoration fund to finance the stonemason's work. Alec Lapointe is that stonemason, and I think he did a pretty darn good job. Is that him? Yeah. Alec's not here. Okay, so you're not hearing me.
Not hearing who?
At this time, I would like to thank Randy Green, who's standing there. Yeah. Yes. He has done some admirable things to this cemetery, and we thank him for that. And also to my cousin Steve Olmsted, who continues to work here, I think, to keep the cemetery beautiful. And he has contributed many years of monetary and labor resources to maintain Bellevue. We all owe an ongoing debt of thanks, I think, to Steve. Also my sister Gail, who is Alexandra Wright, who knows some of the volunteers and would like to introduce them now. Would you like to come up here again?
If you had come here 2 years ago or before, you wouldn't have seen these beautiful gardens. And we have our wonderful volunteers to thank. I think many of them are here today, maybe some aren't. But I mean, they have worked so hard for these 2 years. You saw them when you came in, those gardens. They weren't there before. So I think we owe them a big round of applause. But I haven't introduced them yet, so let's see. Darlene, are you here? Hi. Darlene over there. Dorothy, but I believe she's not well, not here. Maria, where are you, Maria? Maria. Oh, Maria. Francoise, here? No. Pat, no? Oh, there's Pat. Jacques, way down there. Come on out, Jacques. And I think you're going to be the volunteer for that Randy was, the work Randy was doing. Yes. And Meta, is it Meta? Is she